Hello, everybody. I'm Casey the Space Shaman. I wanted to come on and talk about spirit guides. So, ever since my awakening, which was about 15 or 16 years ago, something like that, a crucial part of my growth and development as a human being and as a spiritual being has been communicating with my spirit guides and developing real relationships with them. And I know most people who get into the New Age community or the spiritual community that's growing more and more every day, they come across the idea of spirit guides, but a lot of people don't even really know what that means. So I'd like to address that first. So what exactly are spirit guides? Spirit guides are beings, people, just like you and me, but they can be of any race. They could be human, they could be angels, they could be dragons, they could be elves, they could be animals. They could be a bear or a fox or a wolf or extraterrestrials of all different kinds, but they are not of the same vibrational frequency as us. So they're alive and they're unique individuals. They have their own minds, their own emotions, their own lives, their own experiences, just like you and me. But they are not currently here in the Earth matrix in the same way that we are. They can be right here around us, and in fact, I'm aware of my spirit family standing around me right now. I can see them, I can communicate with them, but they are not physical, I guess is what we could say. They are not incarnate here on Earth, and so they don't show up as a physical being, but they can be seen, felt, heard, all of this stuff, experienced just like a physical human being can, and they are no more or less real than any physical human being is. They are just kind of vibrating on a slightly different frequency than we are. And what makes them spirit guides, because again, in spirit, this is what we all are. We're all beings of spirit, beings of energy that can travel the multiverse. They can travel across universes to different worlds. But what makes a spirit guide your spirit guide is that they are here with you. They follow you around through this physical life, whether or not you ever become aware of them. And most people here on Earth never become aware of their guides. But whether or not you're aware of them, they're following you around. And they are always here ready to provide guidance, healing, support, love, whatever you need. And this is where it's really crucial to anyone who is walking a spiritual path to learn how to perceive and communicate with their guides. Because as those of you who have awakened and are walking this path know, things aren't always easy. In fact, oftentimes there's a lot of suffering, and we'll encounter very difficult situations that we can become really stuck in. And from my own personal experience, I can say that there have been many times where I've been deeply stuck in depression or anxiety or fear or addiction, all kinds of things. And many times that I was able to really become free of those situations and move through and experience change and really evolve past those situations were because I reached out to my guides for help. Like I said, they're always there. They're always around us. They're always willing and ready to offer help. But the way that the Earth's matrix works, we have to reach out. We have to reach out to them and ask them for their help. Now, I have spoken to my guides about this, and in certain emergency circumstances, our guides can intervene and they can influence our subconscious mind. They can influence the events around us to help us if that is really what's meant to be. And I know there have been times where my life's been physically in danger, and my guides have come through and have saved my life when I wasn't aware of it and I didn't ask for their help. So they do work in that way. But when it comes to something like being stuck in depression or anxiety, I mean, we could go on suffering for a long time. And I myself have, like I said, I'll sit there and I've been stuck in some cycle of depression or anxiety or addiction. And I sit there and I've been like that for a while. And then finally I decide, you know what? I'm sick of this, but I don't know how to get out of it. I don't know how to unstuck myself. I don't know how to free myself from this. And so at that point, for some reason, it's very easy to forget that they're always there, even though I know, and I can tune into them anytime I want. But that moment that I remember and I call out to them and say, hey, guys, please help me. They always have. And I'm literally, in a matter of sometimes 10 minutes, I've been able to go from being really stuck in some cycle or pattern to freeing myself and feeling better than I have in a long time, just by inviting the help of my guides in and journeying with them and experiencing their healing. So yeah, it's really important. They are there. They are very powerful. They are healers for us. They're teachers. They're counselors. Uh, and they're our friends and they're our family. But we have to learn to perceive them and reach out to them and ask for their help. They can't force it on us. They cannot force their help on us. And they can't even really get our attention. I mean, there are certain ways through synchronicities that they can kind of get our attention and get us to tune into them. But it's very easy to ignore those when we're not actively looking for them or tuning in. So it's crucial, I think, for anyone on a spiritual path to develop some sort of relationship with their guides. And that may look different for me than it looks for you. Maybe the way some people interact with their guides is through a medium, such as tarot cards or casting of stones or runes or something like that. For me, I have a pretty unique relationship with my guides from what I've come across, and I've never really heard of anyone. And I'm sure there are other, let me turn this light down a little bit. I'm sure there are other people out there that have the kind of relationship with their guides that I do, but I've personally never met anyone like this. But for me, when I tune in and communicate with my guides, for example, I could be just laying in my bed and relaxing. And when I tune in, I can see them. And to explain a little bit more, that my primary guides, and I have many spirits that I'm friends and family with, but the primary guides that always follow me around, that are always around my physical body with me, helping me, are four angels, or four members of the alliance, as I call them, because angels are many different races of being that take on the form of the winged humanoid when they do their work. So four angels and two dragons that also take on a humanoid form most of the time when they're with me. And those are the guides. Their names are for the angels, Sirfahe, Graham, Thrax, Sigil, and the dragons are Veldrath and Drathea. Most of those are nicknames that I've given them because their names are either really well, for example, in dragon speech sounds nothing like human speech. So I wouldn't even be able to pronounce it with my vocal cords. So those are kind of nicknames that I've just given them for easier reference when talking to them and other people. Um, but uh, but those are my main group. And when I tune into them, I can see them around me in my my third eye sense. So it's like I'm imagining them in the room around me, but that is my ability to see energy and spirit, and I can see them and I can talk to them and I can have conversations with them the same way I'd have a conversation with any other human being. I can sit down and ask them questions and talk to them, and sometimes we'll just joke around and have fun or just catch up about how my day has been or whatever. And sometimes we'll have really deep discussions, and I'll ask questions about the nature of reality and the mysteries of the universe, or we might just be making stupid sex jokes or whatever. But it feels to me. Uh, Almost the same as if I was having a conversation with Eris, my partner, or if I was having a conversation with one of my best friends or a family member that I'm really close to. And the although we're not technically communicating in English directly, we're communicating through energy that my mind is able to really easily translate into English. And it just happens in such a way that I've practiced so much that it just feels like this effortless back and forth as if I'm just talking to any person I could talk to in the physical world. And that's something that's pretty unique. I've never really come across anyone that has that level of connection and communication in that same way with their spirit guides. Again, I'm sure there are other people out there, and I want to teach people to have that. I really want to share that with people. That's something I'm really passionate about because it's just changed my life in so many ways. There are times when I've been, in really bad situations, and they've helped me out of it in ways that no one else could. And I know it saved my life so many times. And it's just so beautiful also to know that you're never alone. There's times when we as human beings, although we're more connected than ever with these phones that we have and with our technology, we're also sometimes more isolated than ever. We can feel really lonely at times. And just to know that you have these beautiful beings of light who are here, who love you, who know you longer than any human being on this planet has known you, who probably know you better than you currently know yourself, and who love you so much, and just to know they're there and that they love you, and then you can just talk to them anytime, or you can ask them for healing anytime, or you can just be with them and sit with them and feel their presence and their love anytime. Wow, is that a game changer in terms of being a human being and just not feeling so lonely on this planet. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. So Brianna's here. Brianna says, hi, everyone. Hi, Brianna. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, I'd love to have like a little dialogue. If anyone has questions about spirit guide communication, I'd love to talk about this. So please go ahead and comment. Um, yeah, I was actually kind of found myself in a little bit of a pattern. I've been doing my healing work. I see my clients. When I see my clients, I have a few massage therapy clients that I see regularly. Eris is here too. Hi, Eris. He says, hi, honey. Hello, my love. I'm so glad you're watching. Yeah, I've been kind of stuck in this, in a little bit of a loop where I was doing the same kind of thing over and over again every day. Wasn't live streaming. Had been meaning to live stream for so long. And a few days ago, I was feeling particularly stuck and heavy. And I just felt like, there were things I wanted to do, changes I wanted to make, and I just felt like I couldn't do it. And so I entered into the journey space. I went on a shamanic journey, and I met with all of my guides, and I told them like, hey, I've been communicating with you guys more regularly lately, but I just feel like I'm ready to move forward and change and do things a little differently. And so they're like, well, if you're really ready, like we can help you, but you got to really let us in and invite us and be ready for some change to happen. And I said, okay, let's do this. So they took me through this powerful experience, took me into the lower world and had me meet with aspects of myself that I hadn't really looked at or faced in a really long time. And I was taken through this really painful yet powerful and beautiful healing experience. And then I was still in the journey space with them, and I was feeling so much lighter. I felt like this giant weight or the sense of constriction was lifted off of me. And I was like, you know what? I have so much psychic energy, so much spiritual and mental energy that I've been using to just scroll or listen to an audiobook or just whatever, just not really using it productively or anything. And I'm not stuck. I realized I'm not truly stuck. That's just an idea I have in my head and a sensation and emotion that I have in my body, but it's not the ultimate truth. There's nothing really holding me and keeping me stuck. And so after that healing, I could see that, and then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna use my energy right now since I'm in this space with you guys. Let's create my day tomorrow. What do I want to do? I have this free time tomorrow. What do I want to do with it? How do I want to spend it? And so I sat down, and we were around this table in the upper world with a bunch of angels, and I was playing, and there was like this circular globe hologram that I was playing with, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna wake up, and tomorrow the first thing I want to do is, if I have any anxiety or uncomfortable emotions upon waking, I want to immediately turn to you guys, my spirit family, and I want you to help me work through it. And that's what I did when I woke up that morning. I had some anxiety upon waking, and I turned to my guides first thing without going on my phone or anything else. And they guided me right through it. They helped me to move through that anxiety, and then I was feeling great, really peaceful and comfortable. And I had a sense of excitement and aliveness that I hadn't felt in a while, and it was really beautiful. And there were other things I planned out. Like, for example, the second thing I wanted to do was to go on a hike. Like right after I worked through that anxiety, I wanted to get up and just go straight to the forest and go on a nice hike through the forest. And I did that. It's literally between gaining consciousness, waking up, and being on the road to the forest to go on this hike was less than 30 minutes. And I normally take a long time in the morning to kind of slowly wake up and shake off the grogginess, and then I'll scroll on my phone or whatever else I do. But it was literally less than 30 minutes. I was on the road, hiking through the forest, and I was hiking with my spirit family, which was really cool. So this whole time I'm hiking, I was physically by myself, no other humans with me, but the whole time I'm hiking, I can see these 4 angels and 2 dragons with me, and we're hiking and joking and playing with energy and talking to each other and just having an amazing time, like having such a good time hanging out with my family, with my brothers and sisters, with my friends, my best friends. And it was just so beautiful. And there were other things that I had planned out, that I was creating, that I wanted to do. But I did say to myself, one thing was, you know what? Even if I don't accomplish all these things, even if I don't get half of these things done, it's not a failure. Even if I just do one of those things, a single one of those things that I had planned, that's a success. And I think this is what I've noticed for myself and in other people. This is where when we try to make change like this, I notice this is where a lot of people get stuck, right? So we have these plans and we say, all right, I'm doing things differently tomorrow. And then we say, okay, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And maybe we do one of those things and then we fall back into our old patterns, or we're really tired. And we just don't have the energy to do these things because we're not used to it. We're not used to having the momentum, the motivation and energy to do that. And so when we don't accomplish everything we had planned, we feel a sense of failure, and then we feel guilt and shame for not having done that and for falling back into old patterns. And that just perpetuates the cycle. But I had pre-planned it and talked to my guides about this, and we had collectively decided, okay, if I don't do any of these things, it's not a failure. It's not a failure. If I just do one thing different, that's a huge success. But even if I don't do that, that's still okay. That's still okay. There's no failure, no reason to add guilt and shame to further solidify these old, heavy, uncomfortable patterns. I can make change on my own pace and my own schedule, and really going balls to the wall, so to speak, and just doing so much different and trying to completely turn your life 180 and do all these different things overnight is honestly, in my experience, a good way to really burn yourself out, and to maybe you feel really good and you're motivated for like 3 days or a week, but you're going to crash if you try and make that drastic of a change that suddenly. Not saying it's not possible, and not saying some people can't do that. It's absolutely possible. But for me personally, that just doesn't work. That's not how I work. And so that day, out of the things that I sat down and planned that night before with my guides, I probably did a little over half of those things, but there were still almost half of those things that I had planned that I didn't do. But I felt so accomplished. There were things that I did. Like I worked. Not only did I do that hike, but I did a workout, a physical like body weight workout for the first time in a long time. And there were other things that I did, and I made a Facebook post talking about, sort of sharing some wisdom that was coming through, and there were all these things that I did do that I wasn't doing for a long time, and I felt so great. And the funny thing is, though, that last night, then after I did all of that, as I was laying down last night, I journeyed again with my guides, had some beautiful conversations and experiences, some really trippy ones too. Um, but uh, but I said, okay, let's create my day again. And so I did that. I sat down and I had all these things that I was going to create and do. And I got even less done today. I got even less done today than I did the day before. And I was just so tired. I was exhausted, and my body just really wanted to rest. And I almost got virtually none of those things done. But then I was laying here because one of the big things both days, and I didn't do it yesterday and I almost didn't do it today, but one of the big things I talked to my guides that I wanted to start doing again was live streaming, coming on here, talking about my experience, sharing, doing healings, or whatever wants to come through, whatever spirit inspires me to do on this channel. But I really want to be active on here again. And I hadn't done it. If you look, my last video was like months and months ago. And so I almost didn't do it again today. And then I was laying down. And I just want to preface this by saying, for some reason, I have difficulty communicating with my guides as clearly and as well during the day when the sun's out versus at night when the sun is down. For some reason, when the sun's down, I don't know if it's just the way my brain associates these things, or if it's the particular blend of neurochemicals that are present, or just the energies of the moon or whatever, or the stars or whatever. I really don't know. But for some reason, it's way easier for me to communicate with my guides in the evening when it's dark out. And so I had trouble during the day communicating with my guides. But then I was laying here, and finally it felt easier and more clear in terms of communication. And so I was just talking to them. I'm like, guys, like, it's okay. There are things I planned to do today. I didn't get them done, but that's all right. And then I asked them, what should I do right now, guys? Like, I'm open. Like, give me your guidance. Instead of just talking and chatting and hanging out with them, which is beautiful, I said, I'm open to some guidance right now. What should I do? And they told me, go ahead, do that live stream. And I'm like, yeah, but it's kind of late and I'm tired and I'm ready to just wind down. And no one might even tune in because it's really late right now. And who knows? And blah, blah. They're like, yeah, okay, but just do it. And I felt tired and I didn't have the motivation and all that stuff. And they're like, yeah, but you're going to have to do it at some point. And it might be uncomfortable. You might not totally feel like it, but you're going to have to start at some point. So start now. And that was the guidance they gave. And I said, you know what? I respect that. I'm going to listen. I'm going to follow that guidance. And here I am, and it's just proof, that we can make beautiful, powerful change. And we don't have to do it alone. We're never alone. We don't have to carry our heaviness alone. We don't have to experience our struggles alone. We don't have to suffer alone. And we don't have to make change in our lives. We don't have to heal alone. We have these beautiful beings of light with us. Every one of us does. And it's super easy. There's not a single person on this planet that can't learn to communicate with their guides. I firmly believe that. I mean, if you are conscious, and I don't mean spiritually conscious, I mean literally, if you are aware of reality, I believe that anyone can learn to communicate with their guides. And it may not look the same for every person, but everyone can do it. It's just something that innately is within us because we are spiritual beings. If we wouldn't be able to work a mind, we wouldn't be able to have thoughts or feel emotions or communicate or do anything if we weren't primarily, first and foremost, beings of spirit and energy. And so, because we are primarily beings of spirit and energy, we can communicate with beings of spiritual spirit and energy as well. So I want to help people with this. So again, comment if anyone has any questions about this, please comment. But also, I offer this as a service. This is something that I help people with. I teach people how to communicate with their guides. So if anyone's interested in this, please reach out to me. Send an email. Let me put this up here actually. That's my email right there, CaseyTheSpaceShaman at gmail.com. It's in the link. All my links on my website and everything are there too. But I have taken many, many people through this. And I've had some people who tell me, man, I just really wish I could communicate with my spirit guides, but I've just never been able to. And usually within about 30 minutes, they are seeing and talking to their guides very clearly. Because it's so easy, because it's not this big thing. The New Age community makes it out to be like this opening your third eye thing where you have to really meditate and do all this crazy stuff. And then boom, there's like this explosion of energy and light and sensation and information, and then you're enlightened and awakened and you can communicate with your guides. But I'm telling you right here, right now, where you are, whatever you're doing, if you're watching this video, you're able to communicate with your guides right now. And a cool little test I like to do to see just how capable you are, to test whether or not you're capable, and we can all do this together, is whoever's watching this, if you're able to, as long as you're not driving or something, go ahead and close your eyes for a second. Just close your eyes for just a few moments. And I want you to imagine, just imagine what you're going to do after this, whether you're going to eat a meal or just go to sleep, or whether you're going to ride your bike or drive to work or whatever it is. Just immediately after this, even if it's like, I'm going to use the restroom because I have to pee. Whatever you're immediately about to do after this, just imagine you're doing that right now. The thing you're just about to do as soon as you're done watching this. Imagine you're doing it. Now, were you able to imagine that? And if the answer was yes, then you can communicate with your spirit guides. It's that same exact thing. What we just used right there, our imagination is the tool through which we perceive reality. That is what we use to communicate with our spirit guides. And most people on this planet have a very undisciplined imagination. So it just kind of runs free and does its own thing. And we're not able to get very relevant information. We're not able to use it in a way, or at least it's very difficult in the beginning to use it in a way that seems relevant to us and that seems important. But really, anytime you're imagining anything, even that little exercise I just had us do there, where we were imagining, okay, well, I'm about to eat dinner after this. That little thing that you just imagined, you are actually perceiving reality. You're perceiving a reality where that was happening right now. The imagination is the perception of reality. We live in the quantum field, the multiverse, where every single possible thing you could possibly imagine is happening for real right here, right now, somewhere in the multiverse. And our imagination allows us to perceive those realities. Having said that, there are an infinite number of realities. And so when I tune into my spirit guides, I'm tuning into a specific reality that all of my guides are with me in. And I'm tuning into this reality and focusing on this one reality in a way where they're able to give me helpful information to help me move forward with my life, to help me to heal, to help me to grow, etc. But it's very easy to go from that to, okay, my mind's just wandering about, and my imagination is now being used to think about, oh, that was a really cool show I was just watching, and I wonder what happened if this character married this character, because that'd be really crazy if that happens the next season. And next thing you know, and that's just undisciplined imagination. It's still real. You're still perceiving reality. It's just your imagination's kind of floating around and you're perceiving all different things in a kind of chaotic manner. So we need to learn to discipline it. We need to learn to use focus and discipline our ability to perceive reality, but everyone can do that. And if you could sit there and you could intentionally imagine something even as simple as, I'm about to eat a taco. If you can imagine that, you can communicate with your spirit guides, because it's honestly just as easy as doing that. But we have all of these ideas around it that it's really difficult and that it's this intense thing. And oh God, I'm communicating with an angel. Wow, this is such a heavenly and profound experience. And I'm just a humble little human, and my human mind can't conceive of blah, 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 and all these ideas that we have about how intense and magical it is. And it is beautiful and intense and magical, but it's also so simple and so easy. And we're using our ability to do this all the time. We just don't realize that we're doing that. And we don't take advantage of it in a way that is useful for us and that helps to propel us forward on our path. We're most of the time using our imagination for trivial things. And even worse is when we're sitting there and scrolling on our phones, and all of that psychic energy, all of that imaginative power is just being used for us to just view some artificial reality that just causes us to become super addicted to dopamine. But that's a whole other conversation for later. Brianna Burgess says, I need to connect to my guides more. I've been getting messages from them saying you are not alone. That's beautiful, Brianna. Yeah, you're not alone. You're never alone. They're here and they love you. And like I said, Brianna, it's really easy. Reach out to me if you like. If you're ever interested in learning more, reach out, seriously. I can help you with that. It's super easy. Everyone can do it. And Brianna, you're a very gifted person. You're very sensitive, very energy sensitive as well. And so I think you'd have a really easy time with that. The biggest thing is our mental hurdles, the ideas we have around it. We think it should be difficult. We think it's going to be difficult. We believe that it's going to be difficult. And so we make it difficult for ourselves. It's not difficult itself. It's super simple, super easy. We just make it out to be difficult because we believe it is, or it should be, or something like that. But it's super simple. It's really easy. It's as easy as just, okay. So right now, let me try. So I've been focused on this video and I haven't been aware of my guides. So we're literally, all I need to do is sit here and just imagine where my guides are around me, what they look like, and they're here. Okay, so Graham, my angel, is right here. Drathea, my dragon, is right here. Thrax is over there, angel. Seagull is behind me. And so it's that easy. I'm imagining where they are and what they look like, and they're here. And now if I want to talk to them, again, I just send a thought out. I'm using my psychic energy, but literally all I'm really doing is just thinking at them. I'm just thinking at my guides. I can think a simple thing to Drathea here. Okay, so I literally just sat there and I thought to Drathea, my dragon guide. I thought to her, "Hey, is there anything you want to tell the people on the live stream?" And she said, and again, I imagined I was thinking this, and then boom, I received the response. And it just happens effortlessly. It can be that easy. But as soon as I asked that, she said, "Tell them that they're all sexy and that they should all act like it." That's what she said. That's why I laughed. So Drathea says all of you guys are sexy and that you should all act like it, because you are. And of course, when I talk to my guides like this, I want to clarify first as well, because my guides and Era says, that's my girl. Yeah, oh yeah. Thanks, girl. So are you, says Eris. Yeah, and so sexy doesn't necessarily just mean physically attractive. Sexy is like It's just sexy. You're awesome. You're sexy. We're just attractive in all the ways, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, as gods and goddesses. We're just sexy, all of us. And Drathea definitely embodies that. And Eris and I talk to each other like that all the time. Uh, yes, that life force energy popping. Yes, exactly. Sexual energy is the energy of creation. It's the energy of creation. It is life force. Sexual energy is the energy of creation. So everything is sexy, really. Everything in existence is sexy because it's all sexual energy. It's all creation. And that's a beautiful thing. I didn't think I was going to have to explain that, but Dorothea told me to say it, so I did. But it's that simple. It's that easy, and it can be that fun and light too. It doesn't have to be. I teach certain people, and when I'm guiding them through the initial experience, sometimes they're like, "Oh yeah, like it's real easy." They're having this conversation, and then afterwards they message me, or I'll ask them and be like, "Hey, how's it been going with communicating with your guides?" And they're like, "Yeah, I just haven't been doing it. Like I tried, and then I just couldn't talk to them anymore, and it got really hard, and I just felt really blocked and all this stuff." And again, it's literally, it's just your ego. It's just your mind coming in and telling you it's hard, telling you that it's difficult. We start to think about it too much. We get wrapped up in our own heads, and we say like, "Oh God, am I really talking to a dragon right now? Like that's crazy. I must be making all this up." I love, and then we just get all worried, and then it becomes this big thing in our heads, and then next thing you know, we're too scared to even try to do that thing that was so effortless and easy before, when really it can be that effortless, easy, and fun all the time. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to share with you guys. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. And thank you so much, Eris and Brianna. And she said it's so fun to connect with our guides. It really is. I mean, it's a blast. There are some time, and again, this is one of the things I've been doing. Instead of scrolling, right? I found myself scrolling on social media a little bit too much lately. I'm guilty of that, just like a lot of people are. And so instead of that, I realized it was taking up a lot of my psychic energy, using a lot of my mental energy and my imaginative ability. And so when I do have downtime, instead of reaching for my phone and scrolling, I'll use that same energy that I would be putting into scrolling into communicating with my guides. And it's really fun. Every time I do it, it's so fun, and they joke around with me, and they're just like my best friends and family, and we hang out, and it's always so beautiful, and they're hilarious and fun, but they can also be so wise. I mean, there are some times when I connect with them and I talk to them, and maybe I'm really stuck on something, right? Like I'm worried about this one thing, and I sit there and I'm like, "Oh man, like I just feel so stuck about this, and I can't move past this, and I can't even see my way out of this narrow-minded thinking, and I can't help myself out of it." But then I turn to my guides, I ask them for help, and sometimes they'll just say just the right thing, or just the right things. They'll ask the right questions, or they'll say the right things in a way where I'm like, I never would have thought of that in this state of mind. I never would have been able to think that. It was outside of my ability at that time, and they bring that through. They tell me this thing, and sometimes I just snap out of things like that. And because they're so wise, they really know me better than I know myself in so many ways. And it's just so incredible to have access to that at any time that I desire it. It's really amazing. I'm just so grateful. Like I know I wouldn't be here right now if it weren't for them. It's so grateful for you guys. Love you, Spirit family. I love you so much. You guys are amazing. Yeah, they said that they love me too. And they also want me to remind you guys that all of you guys have this. All of you guys have this. You're all so loved. No matter who you are, or where you're at, or how you feel about yourself, you're all loved. You're all so, so loved. All of you are. So, yeah. And it's never too late to try and change, or to try and develop this connection with your guides. It's never a bad time either. Never a bad time to do that. And there have been times in my life where I thought it was not a good time when experiencing loss or grief, something like that. There were times when I was experiencing grief, and I thought, I just I don't have the focus. I can't. It doesn't feel light or right to communicate with my guides right now. But I've realized those are the times when sometimes it's the most important. When things are the most difficult, that's when it's needed the most, and that's when it can help the most. So yeah, you're never alone no matter what's happening. It's never a bad time to communicate with your guides. And Brianna says, I think my ego is getting in my way when I try connecting to my guides. Yeah, you're not alone, Brianna. That's just about everyone who starts walking that path. That happens to just about everyone. But we can all get over that, and sometimes it takes a little bit of guidance. I had to figure it out. I've been communicating with my guides since I was a kid, since I was in grade school. But then becoming an atheist when I was a little bit older, and then having my spiritual awakening a little bit after that. There was time when I had a lot of doubt and everything, and my ego would definitely get in the way. And so I just have kind of especially over the past 16 years, 15, 16 years, whatever it's been, I've just spent a lot of time practicing and doing this and receiving proof. That my guides have given me proof of how real and powerful they are. Time and time and time again. They don't ask me for their blind faith. They give me proof of their existence, and they will for anyone if you're open to it. They'll give you proof. But you don't have. The thing is, like, there are people like me, right? I pretty much had to figure it out on my own and learn on my own, and fall into a lot of pitfalls. I had to fall into a lot of traps and work my way out of them time and time again. But you can benefit from my experience. I want to share it. I want to share that with people. So reach out anytime any of you guys feel called. And let's do this. I think it would be incredible if even like a single percent, if 1% of the people on the planet had this kind of connection, could communicate with their guides like this, and knew they were there, and had them to help them, like that would be an entirely different world. Oh my God, it would be no comparison. It would be a completely different planet. Just that one thing. If just 1% of us remembered that, or realized that we could do that all along, it'd be incredible. So yeah, that's what I'd like to see. So I love you all so much. Thank you. Oh, and I just got a text from Eris saying that people were commenting on Facebook, but apparently they're not coming through here. I'm on StreamYard is the service I'm using. So yeah. So next time, guys, please head over to YouTube, because I know for sure 100% of the time the comments come through on YouTube. So go to the YouTube channel, The Space Shaman, and make your comment there, and I'll for sure see it. Because sometimes, for whatever reason, the way StreamYard works, I don't see Facebook comments sometimes. So yeah, you can always, I'm going to see your comments if you're on YouTube. So that's the safest bet. All right. Thank you guys so much. I love you so much. Nike Kuyaki, Urpi Chai, Sonkolai.